You say that there are 4 negative patterns that can predict divorce. And I think this is really critical for folks to watch. We're going to show some videotapes of couples that Dr. Gottman and his associates have interviewed. And we're going to look at specific things they do in fights, which frankly, I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people in the audience are going to notice things that maybe they do. A lot of you at home are going to notice things. The first one is criticism. Take a look at this example.
Because that's your way of dealing with everything. You don't do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it. It's like doing your chores. What are you doing to make the chore thing change? You know, like you want that to run differently where they do more chores. What kind of planning have you and time have you spent fixing it? Or you just keep telling me you want it to run differently?
All right, so criticism. Anyone in the audience use criticism in an argument? Yeah, okay, over here. Only one person being honest over here. Everyone else lying.
That's right. I want to tell the whole world that I'm critical.
All right.
No.
So, but you find in looking at that, you notice something you do as well.
It looked like me.
It looked like you.
And I wanted to be, yeah. And I wanted some tips to, fight fair and be nice. And I think you helped when you said it's the same. What did you say with your wife? It was the same complaint, but you just.
I just said it in a way she could hear it.
Exactly.
Right.
And why is criticism so dangerous to a relationship?
Well, it's really a way of fueling the attack. So you state your complaint as an attack on the other person. And what you're going to get back is you're not so perfect either, or an innocent victim kind of response. And so it's just not constructive. It winds up just, leading to an escalation of the conflict. Because you're really saying, as far as I can tell, I'm really pretty close to perfect, but you are defective. And the answer you're going to get is you're not so perfect.
Sounds familiar?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that helped. You say another divorce predictor is contempt. Yes. I find this one really fascinating. Let's take a look at this tape.
Yeah, but a lot of the time, I already know what you're going to say. Oh, it'll be all right. Oh, we'll get through it. Oh, we'll make it. It'll be okay. Oh, I love you. Oh, I'm behind you.
All right. So that guy wouldn't even get up, by the way. He was so contemptuous. He was just laying back. So why is that so toxic?
Well, he's mocking her, right? So he's acting superior to her. And not only is contempt our best predictor of divorce in gay and lesbian relationships as well as heterosexual ones, because it's really this air of superiority. It's sulfuric acid for love. If you don't have respect in a relationship...
Sulfuric acid for love.
It really is. I mean, you need respect in a relationship. And contempt is disrespect. And it's also a predictor of how many infectious illnesses his wife is going to have in the next 4 years. It erodes the immune system.
Really?
It erodes the immune system.
Contempt erodes the immune system?
Absolutely.
Wait, you say you use contempt?
Yes, I do. I agree with him fully because my husband's a geneticist. He's Australian. They don't like arguments. That's why they have a shed. They go in the back so they can hide when there's an argument. So that triggers contempt, and I continue having contempt. And over the years, I've, become ill. I've had an immune system problem. Yeah.
It's amazing to me that something like contempt can have physical repercussions.
Yeah, and at Ohio State University, Jan Kiko Glazer and Ron Glazer have documented how T lymphocytes don't proliferate as much. Natural killer cells, which are cytotoxic against tumors, are not as effective in a relationship that has contempt and criticism.
Let's look at the third predictor of divorce is defensiveness in arguments. Take a look.
What do you mean I'm always watching TV? I'm working. Can I watch the news? You're always watching TV and the kids.
No, the TV's usually off.
I can't watch a little bit of TV.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Gottman, defensiveness, why is that so toxic?
Well, the reason it's so toxic is that people are not taking responsibility for a part of the problem. And when the masters of relationships, instead of being defensive, take responsibility and say, well, so what's your point? I mean, it makes some sense what you're saying. Tell me more. And they take responsibility for even a small part of the problem, then you know, you're kicking around the problem together. It's like you're playing soccer and kicking a ball around together. You're a team working on this joint problem. Yeah, so defensiveness gets in the way of that.
Right. And the fourth one, the fourth predictor is stonewalling. Take a look. All right, so we all know what that is.
Right.
I mean, is any one of these things a predictor of divorce?
Yeah, all of them sort of ride together. They're the four horsemen of the apocalypse. You know, they're like in the book of Revelations. You know, they spell the end of days. And stonewalling is really interesting because when we interview people who stonewall, 85% of our stonewallers in heterosexual couples are guys. Huh. And what predicts stonewalling is a heart rate above 100 beats a minute. And also, when we interview them about what they're thinking, they're really trying not to make it worse. They're saying to themselves, just shut up, you're going to make it worse. How long can she go on like this? She'll burn herself out. 10 minutes to the game, she can't touch me then. So the stonewaller is really trying to calm down and not make it worse. But when you're faced with somebody who's silent like that, you escalate. So it's a very destructive pattern.
What's the number one thing that couples fight about?
Well, you know, I get asked that quite often, and the real answer is absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Couples fight about nothing. You know, it just happens. I mean, he's got the remote control. You know, he says, let me see what's on. She says, no, leave it on that channel. He says, fine. And she says, well, what do you mean by fine? And he says, well, have it your way. You're always going to have it your way. And he walks out. What are they fighting about?
Right,
nothing. Right? But, you know, they do need to talk about, you know, control.
Clifford, you're nodding your head a little bit too much on that one. You're like, it's the remote.
He's right, though.
Yeah.
Because we don't watch the same program. But I will compromise to watch her program just to have her around me. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It'd be nothing.
Comes out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, yeah.
You also have a list of 3 things never to say in a fight.
Right. Absolutely.
What are they?
Well, the first one is you never. And the second one is you always. Because those are like condemnations of your personality. And the other is really not to be superior to your partner. And, you know, to be on an equal plane. And we heard that from, you know, from 2 couples really saying, you know, talk to me like I'm an equal. And, you know, and I have limitations. You also have limitations. And that's, you know, that's really important, I think, that respect.